Yes, sir. Question? Comment? Concern?
None. Zero.
You good? Come on in. Joining us from South Dakota State, student athletes Brooklyn Meyer, Paige Meyer, and Haley Timmer. We'll begin with questions. Please wait for the microphone and state your name and affiliation before your first question. We will right in the middle.
Eden Lossy, Hoops HQ. Brooklyn, I had asked you this question a little bit earlier, but for you guys, one of the things that Coach J.C. Hoyt for Oklahoma State was saying that she really loves about your program is that, you know, girls get invested in it when they're young and watch the team and then want to go there. I was curious if you guys watched the team growing up and if you had any memories or anything that you remember from that.
Yeah, I think it's cool that we keep a lot of girls in the Midwest on our team, and I think that draws our fans too. And just, yeah, growing up, living in South Dakota, it's been cool to watch the program and then now be a part of it. So,
yeah, kind of the same. I grew up in Minnesota, but I was familiar with them when I was young and watched them a lot, and kind of early on knew it was kind of something I wanted to be a part of. So I've been blessed to be a part of this program now.
Next question. Right here, second row.
Matt Zimmer, Sioux Falls Live. Brooklyn, last year in the tournament, I think it was 17-3 or 20-3 or something in the first quarter, just a really bad start. How important is it to not let something like that happen again, to come out and start strong tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we always try to have good starts. I feel like just trying to, get our energy up and get ready to play will be good tomorrow. And we're really excited to get the chance to come out here and play.
On the left.
Andrew Holden, Brookings Register. all three of you, just what did you guys learn from past NCAA tournament experiences that you can take in to tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I think playing in these tournaments in the past, you know, you're going to get everyone's best game, and you know, everyone that's here has obviously done well throughout the season. So I think just kind of being confident in the work that we've put in all season to come out and play well tomorrow.
Questions? Front row, Jim.
Jim Fuller, Associated Press. You have a coach that's won a lot of games, a lot of titles. He could have gone elsewhere. What's it mean to you to have him show that loyalty to the program and build, stick around, let you guys keep winning like you've been doing?
Yeah, it's meant a lot throughout the years to be able to play under Coach AJ. Yeah, he's done a lot for this program, and just to kind of have him stick through it all these years has meant a lot, and you know, we've all enjoyed playing under him.
Any other questions? We'll go back to the second row.
Paige, you're playing to keep playing. How much does that, you know, motivate you here?
Yeah, you know, that motivates me a lot, being my last year playing together with this group. Just kind of taking in every moment that I can, enjoying every moment with them, and, you know, seeing how long we can keep it rolling.
Back row, right corner.
Parker Brown, Dakota News Now. Now that you guys have had a week now that you knew your opponent, to look at the tape, what do you guys think it'll take to beat Oklahoma State tomorrow?
Yeah, I think doing the little things well, rebounding, knowing our matchups, knowing what to do in scout defense, and obviously playing confident on offense is also important. So I think just bringing all those little things to the game that is going to give us the edge against Oklahoma State is important.
Any other questions? We'll go front row.
Travis Fossian from Kelloland News. What has been AJ's message throughout the course of the week?
Yeah, I think like Timmy said earlier, just working on the little things, making sure that we're locked into those details of the game, and yeah, kind of like what Paige said, we're going to get their best game, and we have to, you know, be ready to play tomorrow, and yeah, just bring our energy and bring our effort.
Question on the left-hand side. Oh, go ahead. That's fine. Back corner.
What do you guys expect the atmosphere to be like on game day?
Yeah, UConn's obviously a really cool and historic basketball place for women's basketball. So, and their fans come and pack the arena. So I think it'll be a cool atmosphere, just fans overflowing from their game before ours, and it'll be fun to play just in this arena and this environment.
Any other questions? Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
.4:15. Coach will be here. how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
We are joined by South Dakota State head coach Aaron Johnston. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach.
Well, we're happy to be here. Another NCAA tournament for our team. That's exciting. I think this is our 13th time in not too many more years, so that's awful fun to have this kind of chance all the time. Fun to come to Connecticut, a place you know a lot about just from their history and their storied program, so it'll be fun to compete in their arena. Obviously, a fan base that really knows women's basketball. Hopefully, they're passionate about both games tomorrow and really, just provide the environment that I think we want for all these young women that are out there playing. We're excited to be here. We've had a great year. Fun to see our team really play, I think, up to their full potential for all of the season. Our non-conference schedule was incredibly difficult. We came out with a lot of positives there. Had a good run through our conference season and into the conference tournament, and been off for a little while, so we've been able to hopefully get a little healthy and a little bit of rest, and now we're anxious to get out here and practice and play and go through the experience of it. We've got some really good upperclassmen that have been great leaders for us. They've been a part of a lot of the success we've had over the years, so fun to see them rewarded again with another chance at an NCAA tournament.
We'll take a question right here in the middle.
Eden Lassie, Hoops HQ. You've been coaching this team since it was a Division II program. Just, to go from that to now, like you said, being in so many NCAA tournaments, kind of being expected to be here basically year after year. Can you just sort of reflect on the journey?
Yeah, we've had just great, I think, growth and support for women's basketball over a lot of years. Obviously, the support and energy we're going to have here is unique and special. I think we feel back home the same way about our program. Fans really have been fantastic back in the early 2000s when we were kind of getting going and won a Division II national title through the transition to Division I. Our first Division I victories and now building to a team that wants to be a top 25 team consistently. That's quite a steep trajectory, really, in a pretty short period of time. We've done it with just great people. We've had so many really good players over the years that have come to South Dakota State, stayed at South Dakota State, helped us build a tradition of success there, and this team is no different. But it's been really fun to be a part of building something. And I don't want to say from scratch, because the program was very, very good before I got there, but the Division I part was a whole new enterprise, something that we had never really done before. And to kind of take that to a new beginning to where it is right now is pretty amazing. But it's been fun over the years to see it a little bit through our players' eyes, their families' eyes, through our fans' eyes, through our community's eyes, and it's touched a lot of people, I think, in a positive way.
Front row right.
Aaron, before I ask a question, can we get a status update on Katie Vasika?
Yeah, she's been good. She's been practicing. She'll be out there today. We would expect that she'd be available and ready to play kind of her normal role and normal minutes here going forward.
Last year in the NCAA tournament, the start of the game was the maybe weirdest start to a game you've had. What do you remember about what happened, what went into that, and how can you avoid letting that happen again?
Yeah, I remember all of our tournament games except for the start of that one, so I guess I really can't comment on it. I don't really have much of a recollection of being down. I can't remember what we were down, but yeah, no, it didn't go well. I'm a believer, every game kind of takes on its own life. That was a game where foul trouble hurt us. I think Brooklyn got 2 fouls immediately, and we were just kind of shocked a little bit from that and didn't put our best foot forward, but we hung in there. And I remember going into half, and it was a game, from where you felt like, boy, this is going to get out of hand, and our team just dug in and really played well to make it a game in the second half. So, yeah, that was a rough start. How do you avoid that? Like I said, some of that's in our control. We've got to be ready to play. I'm not sure we were then or weren't, but also just things come up in the game that change. Even if you feel like you're ready when something doesn't go your way, how do you respond to it? I think the lesson I would take either from that game or any of our NCAA tournament experiences are you just got to keep playing. There's going to be runs one way or the other. Every team you play at this point is so confident and so good and so talented. Not everything is going to go your way. You've got to be able to handle ups and downs within a game. Sometimes you're playing an opposing crowd. Sometimes you're on a neutral floor, have to generate your own energy. There's just a lot of things that go into it, and just trying to be really steady and try and find a way to play the next best possession we can is a good way to approach it.
We'll go right
I do
here.
remember the start of that game, but try not to.
AJ, you guys have been playing really well here. Did you notice maybe a shift in focus of your team as you guys maybe hit the last couple weeks of conference play and then in the Summer League tournament?
Yeah, I'd say even probably that midway through January, we started to dig in and prioritize and just play better defensively. You know, we were always pretty good. I think that's fair to say defensively. It wasn't a major issue, but I think we kind of found a new gear defensively the last probably 6 weeks of the conference season. I think that carried over into February and then into March. And it helped our offense too. We were far more efficient offensively. I thought we got to better spots there. So defensively, that was probably the biggest change. And I think as the year went on, the team really settled into roles and expectations. How can each person help us, and where do they bring the most, value to our team, and people really buying into that. That's also an adjustment that every team goes through. And sometimes you hit it right away in November because of what your roster looks like. This year, going back to the very beginning, I think I said this in September, October, we actually returned 8 players who had been starters at SDSU this year because of injuries and all the different things that we've had to work through the last couple years. When you have 8 players back that all probably expect to start, obviously it doesn't work that way math-wise. So we just had to adjust, and we had to learn and figure out what the best system for us going forward was going to be. And I think all those things really fell into place as we got into about mid-January. So
We'll go to Carl in the front row.
Carl Adamek, Hearst, Connecticut Media. Coach, can you talk about Callie Tyson, her perseverance, being a sixth-year senior and likely a leader, and also being a Minnesota kid coming here where Paige Becker's plays?
yeah, for sure. Callie and Paige would have history for sure. They played in the same section, and unfortunately, Callie missed out on some state tournaments, I think, because of Paige and what she did in high school. So there's a familiarity there that is a neat storyline. I think two people come from similar places and end up in different spots, but both in their own way having a story to tell and a story to write, which is really cool, I think. Callie's specific story, yeah, she has had to overcome some injuries, unfortunately. She's had 2 season-ending injuries at different points throughout her career. She's a 6-year senior for us. Most of the team would call her the mother, the parent of the team, just because she has so much experience and has such a just way about communicating and leading that draws people towards her. But she's had to, in a good way, she's really had to sit and think. These injuries have been tough ones. They're not minor ones. They're major rehabs. They've been 2 different injuries. And just had to think, what do I want out of basketball? What do I want to put into this? What am I getting out of this? Every young person has to think that or ask those questions. And she's had to do it twice throughout her career, and that's been really hard. But I think, coming through it now on this last year and having the impact she's had on our team as a player, but also as a leader, hopefully she finds a lot of value in that. And I think she does. She's having a great year, been a big part of our success for a lot of years.
We'll go third row on the end.
Scotty Quaz, Jackrabbit Sports Network. AJ, you mentioned at the onset about the non-conference portion of your schedule and the difficulty of scheduling the way you do, but what value that brings now where you're playing those successful ranked teams at the end of the year is much like you are at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that non-conference schedule I think has been ranked anywhere between 10th and 15th in the country for most difficult non-conference schedule. And that's what we can control. Those are the choices we get to make in November and December, who we play and what that's going to look like. So we're really proud of that. And to have success in that schedule, I think, is really positive for us in a lot of ways, whether it's recruiting or retaining players, whether it's trying to set expectations, certainly your preparation for what we have to face as we get further and further into the year. We've played some really, really good teams, not just this year, but every year. And I think that's always prepared us for trying to be at our very best when it matters, which is now at the end of the season. So I think our team really likes those challenges. I know our fans do. We've had some great teams come through our building. It just has helped kind of promote and grow women's basketball in our area, as well as got us in a place where, we want to be confident coming into a tournament like this. And I think we can draw on a lot of those experiences. Hopefully, as we go forward, the non-conference strength of schedule will continue to also impact and enhance, postseason opportunities, whether it's seeds or bids or things like that. So there's a lot of value in it, and we take that part pretty seriously.
For Oklahoma State, J.C. Hoyt built that program up really quickly in 3 years. Just what have you been impressed with about her? And then on film, what have you kind of seen that impresses you about the program?
Yeah, no, she's done a great job there. We're familiar with her from her time in the Summit League, used to compete against her. And so there's a history there. And Oklahoma State is in a great place. They play in a great conference that always has been supportive of women's basketball. This year they finished 3rd in that league and did it in a way that she's comfortable with. She's able to turn rosters over really quickly, have a balance of high school players, a balance of transfers, and get them all moving in the right direction at the right time. They're a really talented offensive team. They all seem to shoot it. They can really spread you out. They really handle the ball. They really do a good job of trying to create matchups that are good for them. Defensively, just really aggressive, put pressure on you. Some of those things we saw from her teams at Kansas City. Now she's been able to do that at a different level in the Big 12 with maybe a different caliber of player. And her success at Oklahoma State is no surprise, and it's been fun to watch.
With playing these major teams, have you noticed a change in just kind of how they play you guys, being ready to play you guys, compared to maybe 5 to 10 years ago when maybe it was a little bit of a surprise being a mid-major?
Yeah, I mean, I think there could be some truth to that for sure. It's always hard for me to know what happens in the other locker room or the other gym for sure. But, yeah, I mean, I think hopefully we've done enough over the years where people aren't surprised by us anymore. And we're okay with that. It's kind of like the seeding for the NCAA tournament. You know, there's always a group of people that feel like there's an exact seed you want to try and get because that's the easiest path forward. And yeah, I just want to be the very best seed we can be. You know, the path forward is the path. We've got to figure out a way to handle that and rise to those challenges. Just like trying to win a game, you don't want to do it because someone overlooks you. You want their best games, and you want to see if your best game can stack up to theirs. So, yeah, I think we're hopefully at that place. Again, I can't say what happens with the other teams, but if we are, I think that would be a good thing for us.
Go front row, Jim.
Jim Fuller, Associated Press. I was just talking to Gino about you and him are two of the longest tenured coaches in the country at the same school. When you get to a place, you just know it's your place, that this is where I belong. Is that why you've been willing to stay in one place for so long, and even with all the success you've had?
Yeah, it's been a great fit for me, but also for my family. There's a lot of things that go into these choices, at least for us. It's not always just about specifically the job or what the next job is or the pieces that make up a good job. There's a lot of things on the court that are important, but off the court that are really important too. South Dakota State's been a great home and a great place to be for my family, our extended families. When you watch our team compete, you know, we have so many really, really good players. So what I just said about South Dakota State, I think resonates with a lot of players on our team too. They feel that way. And we just haven't had players in the transfer portal, you know, very often. It's very rare for us. So it's just a place where I think we all try and figure out what's best for us and what gets us the most joy and excitement with what we're doing. And South Dakota State's been a great home for me, but also for so many players over the years, and that's why we've had the success that we've had.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
South Dakota State locker room was open for 10 more minutes. We'll close at 4:15.